future of the I-526 expansion project is back on the table this morning. In this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups, I sit down one-on-one with Charleston County Council member Brantley Moody. And be sure to download the free Quintin's Close-Ups app in your Apple or Google Play stores. Brantley Moody.
Hey, good morning, Quintin.
How are you?
I'm doing well. It's good to be with you today, as always.
Likewise. We're coming on the camera right now with some developing news. And let me take it back to Columbia. And this is from ABC News 4. State Transportation Infrastructure Bank Board rescinds prior vote ending partnership with Charleston County on I-526 extension project. Renegotiation of terms to begin as soon as possible after the vote from Charleston County Council last night. From this past summer to right now, how did we get here in your mind?
A lot of hard work. The governor was very instrumental in this thing. Sadly, or for whatever the case may be, when the Wando Bridge went down, that was a critical issue with the life of 526, because when the governor came to town, he said, looked at this mess, and we said, hey, over here in West Ashley, James and Johns Island, we live in this stuff all the time. And I think that really opened his eyes to this project. And then late in August, we had reached out to the governor when he had voiced his support for this thing, and he brought all the parties together, and yesterday was the culmination of what all those discussions were doing. It was a big day for Charleston County, an even bigger day for West Ashley and the islands. So very excited, but a lot of work still left to do, Quintin.
And as a matter of fact, let me go to this. It says this from Harv Jacobs for Live 5 News. The bank board secretary says Henry McMaster, Elliott Summey, and the bank board chairman, as you mentioned, met on August 28th to try to come up with a way to revive the agreement to build 526. He says the county agreed up to their contribution from $117 million to, I believe, $305 million. What got us from $117 million to $305 million?
Well, cost, time, and to be honest with you, nobody knows what the cost is going to be yet. So, people talk about 725, 750. I've even seen some opponents say this is going to be $1 billion road. Who knows? Nobody knows yet. What if it comes in at 650? There's some other changes that happened in that agreement too over the summer. One of the real issues in the original IGA, the intergovernmental agreement, was that if the county found outside funds, that the CID could reduce dollar for dollar their commitment. That has been taken out. So let's say we have a $300 million commitment or $200 million commitment. What if we go to the feds and get 25? What if we go here and get 25? That starts to shrink the piece that the county has to come up with. So not only was the plan revitalized, a lot of key elements that the county needed were also negotiated into that deal.
And I know that State Senator, that is Hugh Levin, had some questions about the changing scope of the I-526 project. He worried that it would violate terms set by the Joint Bond Review Committee. What are those terms in your mind?
That was before my time, Quintin, so I don't know that I can speak exactly to that.
Okay.
But it's, Senator Leatherman is against the project, and his appointee on the SIB also was against the project. So I guess they were trying to create angles to try to keep their coalition of anti-votes together. That's the only thing I can surmise.
And as a matter of fact, Hugh Levin made it clear in that particular meeting that the Joint Bond Review Committee would have to approve any disbursement, as the original approval was for a much different project. What is that project?
Well, to me, the project hasn't changed, whether it's interstate or whether it's Parkway or Greenway or whatever. It goes from the terminus there at Citadel Mall all the way to downtown right here.
Right.
So what about that project has changed? Nothing in my mind.
And let me go to the other side. The Coastal Conservation League, they basically put out a statement saying this, quote, "The decision is a setback for state taxpayers. I-526 is not a state priority. It is not a local priority. It is a fiscally irresponsible project that would not fix regional traffic problems and threaten sensitive natural resources." When you hear this, what do you say?
That's the whining of a very vocal minority group.
And they also go on to say this: Charleston County Council member Elliott Summey, acting without full council approval, and Governor McMaster just signed county residents up to pay for this unpermitted monster project for generations to come. What's worse, they're risking critical future funds to address the local needs, like flooding and traffic relief, all for 8 miles of pavement and political pandering by the governor. Can I clear up something right here? Okay, they're saying here that Elliott Summey basically is acting without full council approval. Is that true?
Not true.
Okay.
Not true. Our executive sessions are called executive sessions for a reason. okay? In years past, those doors may have talked. They don't talk anymore. And that's a problem for people like that oppose this thing. I will reiterate that over 70% of my constituents, and I think it's probably countywide, if you look at the makeup of county council, Mr. Darby wasn't there last night,
Right.
but it's been opposed. It would have been 6-3. When Ms. Honeycutt is seated, it'll be 7-2.
Okay.
That's a mandate. That's 7 people that support 526. The only thing the opponents can do is yell and scream because they have no support for this thing except amongst themselves. So they can yell and scream all they want to. While I'm on county council, I will continue to push for it.
And as you know, as I always ask, is 526 alive or dead?
Well, I told you this summer, I said, you're asking the wrong question. What do you think after yesterday? I think it's very much alive, and it will continue to be alive. It will never go away. Not until the road's built.
And you mentioned earlier about how ways that they can find funding for this particular project. Is a toll road a part of that? A plan?
We'll have to examine that. I mean, there's multiple sources. The county has multiple buckets from which the money can come from. So once we figure how much it's going to cost, find out all the different sources, we'll figure out where the money's coming from.
To be continued.
Absolutely.
Well, Brantley Moody, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate
You're welcome,
this.
Quintin. Thank you. Always good to see you.
Likewise. Yeah.